And just want to welcome you here to meet Sonia Coyle. She is, I have to read this, she is the nutrition educator for Travis County through Texas A&M Agri-Life Extension Service. So, in other words, she's an Aggie who covers Travis County as a diabetic educator. And she may correct me on some of that, but she'll tell you a little bit more about herself. She has a master's degree in science education, so she should be a good educator for us, and she's a registered dietitian. What she won't tell you about is that Sonia became a professional athlete, and I want you to decide what field she was in. Was she in tennis, volleyball, or swimming in Buenos Aires, where she comes from? So we're going to go through them, and you raise your hand. Who says tennis? Who says volleyball? And who says swimming? You want to give me the answer?
Of course.
Tennis. She was a professional tennis player in Argentina.
I don't know if you have, if you remember Gabriela Sabatini back in the 80s. I beat her once. Don't ask when and how old we were, but I beat her once.
And you always have that win. Well, we're really excited to have her here. There's been a ton of discussion about food and health and choices and menus in Westminster. And Sonia is going to speak today primarily on diabetes and preventing it and control. But in 2 weeks, she's going to come back and really give us the down low on carbs and choices. She even is going to take the Laurel and the Bistro menus. They're going to be up on the board, and she's going to go through it and tell us how to make the healthy choices. So we're so grateful she has so much education and knowledge and has agreed to come not once but twice. So we're excited about that. Now, she brought some work. This is the sign-in sheet. I'm going to start it, and everyone has to sign in and evaluate her. If you do that, and you get checked off as you're leaving, you are going to get this wonderful placemat that you can just put down on the table. You can look at your plate, you can know what you're eating is right or wrong, but only if you sign this sheet and do your evaluation. The evaluation is in your folder, and as we go along, if you can get it completed, then you can win your gorgeous placemat. So, a little bit of work, and we're going to get you, I'm going to start over here, and everybody sign in, and we'll just pass it around. And thank you so much, Sonia, for being here. So glad you're here, and Ashley's here as your support person. So let's give a warm welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, the Wellness Committee, for inviting me tonight. Today, we're going to cover a very important topic, because not only it's going to help us to prevent diabetes, but also it's going to help us to prevent chronic diseases. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. But first, I would like to introduce a little bit about myself. I am originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. You can tell I do not have a Texan accent. So with that also, I would like to extend the invitation. If there is any words or any clarification that you may need, please raise your hand and I will try to clarify, because I know I have an accent. I remember I had a Croatian grandma and a German grandmother. And I was teasing her, how can you still have a Spanish accent, because we were living in Argentina after 30 years. Well, I am the same thing. Anyways, yes, I did grow up in Buenos Aires, Argentina, went to college, became a registered dietitian, and thereafter I came to the US 25 years ago, went to Baylor, got my master's in health and human performance, because I always had a passion to help others to prevent chronic diseases. So here I am working for Texas A&M, Early Life Extension, as a family and community health agent for almost 12 years. It's going to be in July. And that's the work I do. I work with adults and I work with the kids. And we talk about nutrition, and we learn a lot. And also, I take care of a lot of cooking classes, cooking lessons, cooking schools, and so forth. A little bit about extension, because I know that here in Austin, Texas A&M Early Life Extension Service is the big unknown, is the best kept secret. Or unless is this a second or third program that you are attending from Texas A&M Early Life Extension? Raise your hand. I think that for most of you it's the very first time. Well, Texas A&M Early Life Extension, what we do is we provide programs to the community. And we are part of a Grantland university system where we partner up with Texas A&M, and the professors in College Station, they provide all the know-how, all the research, and we, family and community health agents, we bring all these programs to the community. So the information that you're going to get, and the booklets, and the handouts that you're going to find today, it's research-based and based from best practices. So today, let's look into the agenda. Today, we're going to, well, first of all, you have a folder with you, and please do bring this folder next time, because we are going to continue putting the handouts in here. And also, before we start, I would like to also mention that I have here some brochures and some for you to learn more about Texas A&M Early Life Extension. And also, there is a wonderful resource here to get healthy recipes from the Dinner Tonight program. So these are things that I would like for you to keep. So today's agenda, we are going to talk about Texas prevalence and impact of diabetes. We are going to understand what's going on with diabetes, what's happening in our bodies. We're going to talk about screening and monitoring, potential complications if we don't control our glucose levels, the role of food. We're going to introduce the carbohydrate choice concept, and we're going to make your plan of action and then the surveys. So you're going to see that we're going to do a lot of activities using the handouts that I have here. But in the very first, in the beginning, we are going just to learn a little bit more about diabetes. So, in Texas, 12.3% of the adults are living with diabetes. And this is worrisome, because 20 years ago, it was only 6%. So now it's 12.3%, a little bit more than. So this is why I'm happy here, because diabetes is a chronic condition. It's a chronic, but if you suffer from pre-diabetes, you can go back to normal living without any diabetes. So this is why I am so excited, because I know that there is a lot of people undiagnosed or pre-diabetes. Look at this. In Texas, 34% suffer from pre-diabetes. And the economic and social impact is $25.6 billion for the state of Texas. It affects the quality of life. Diabetes, unfortunately, is a silent killer. We call it a silent killer because you don't feel any pain. But if it's not controlled, so then all the organs start to having complications and dysfunctions. So this is where we have to be smart and find out where we are at, and then if we are where we are and it's not very good, so then we have to start to take actions. So affects quality of life, family life, mental health, and productivity at work. So we have a sketch here with two arteries. The one closer to the center is an artery that looks pretty normal, where you can see that the red dots are the blood cells filled with hemoglobin, carrying the oxygen, and then the yellow dots is sugar, glucose, because we need that. But there are few. Now, the picture to the right, we can see how many, lots of yellow dots, right? So this is where diabetes, what's going on. There is a lot of glucose, there is a lot of sugar in our arteries, in our blood. That's simple. So that when in diabetes, the blood glucose is higher than normal levels. Then there is important role is the insulin. The insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas, and sometimes the insulin is not working efficiently. Sometimes the pancreas is not working enough. So there are a lot of causes. Why is that higher level of glucose going through and accumulating? So the insulin is very important because thanks to the insulin, we can take the glucose or the sugar into the cells. No insulin, then we're going to have, there's going to be impossible to have energy in our bodies because this is what we need the glucose for. So no insulin means there's going to be a lot of glucose in our bloodstream, and that is not good. So when it comes to diabetes, type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition, and it's insulin dependent. And you can see in the bottom, there is a sketch that only 10% of people living with diabetes, only 10% suffers from type 1, whereas 90% suffer from type 2. And the type 2 has different causes, and it's multi-causal. So it's linked to genetics, lifestyle, that means inactivity, eating poorly, has to do also with the weight, being overweight or obese, that triggers or put us at higher risk. And there is insulin resistance with type 2. Then there is the prediabetes. It's characterized by elevated blood glucose levels, which is somewhere between 100 and 125 milligrams per deciliter in fasting condition. So when in fasting levels we have more than 126 milligrams per deciliter, then we are having diabetes. So then gestational diabetes is when a pregnant woman during their pregnancy has elevated sugar levels. So those are the 4 classifications to understand diabetes. So the risk factors, what can you see from the pictures? Very easy, right? The inactivity, right? The age. Unfortunately, with time, our organs doesn't function quite as good as when in comparison when we were 20, right? Being overweight. And how about the poor diet, right? All that junk, fried stuff. My goodness. Ethnicity, a family history of diabetes. So, and I would like to share something also with you. I have a 13-year-old girl, and we adopted her, and she's super active. She's a competitive swimmer. She has a wonderful healthy body. Maybe next time I'm going to bring a picture. Yet she is going through. She has pre-diabetes. So it's the ethnicity. So where her gene pools come from? She's half Hispanic, half Caucasian. So there is a lot with ethnicity. Latinos or Hispanic and African Americans have higher incidence compared to Caucasians. So this is the genetic pool. So poor diet. Of course, we're working on the diet and things like that. Now we are getting better, but being overweight or obese, that's a big risk. And of course, women who had gestational diabetes, brings a higher risk to develop diabetes sometimes. So how do you find out? Well, the best way to find out what's going on with the glucose levels is with the A1C test, or HbA1c. It's the same thing. And it is done at the doctor's office. And it is very important because it tells us the story, what's going on with the glucose for the last 3 months. Compared to a blood test that you do randomly, like I happened to have 2 months ago a infection, and my goodness, my glucose level was 150. I thought, oh my goodness, now I am having diabetes. Well, no, it was an infection. So that infection just can bring us the level of glucose level just temporarily. And then when you fought that infection, all it comes back to normal. And it did. So the A1C is going to tell us the story of what happened with the glucose levels in the bloodstream for the last 3 months. Very simple. It's done at the doctor's office. So the A1C measures the amount of glucose attached to the red blood. So you can see by the picture that you can see still those red dots, and the white dots are the glucose. So the glucose, for some reason, they like to be attached to the red bloods. So this is what's going on. So the A1C is a marker for blood glucose levels, and if there is somebody with diabetes, we always recommend to have less than 7%. And I would like to share also a story. Before COVID, I was very, very busy conducting lots of weight loss programs in Travis County. I was going to community centers, schools, even at the office. That our office is actually located central east of Austin. And I had a lot of success with that program. Before COVID, people were more inclined to go to attend face-to-face programs. And I had a gentleman coming that he shared during the last session, which was at week 12. That means that for 3 months, people were trying to make those changes, and they lost weight, and they were more physically active, and they were eating healthier. And he said to me, because of course you're going to see also, I always ask, what's the most important thing that you have learned today? Well, I asked at the end of the program, what was the most important thing that you gained from this program? And he said, I was able to take my A1C levels from 9 to 7. So that is what the lifestyle changes, what amazing difference it makes. So going back to the A1C level, so now when you go to the doctor, now you're going to understand that when you have less than 5.7% of your A1C, that means that your glucose levels are normal. Between 5.7 and 6.5, that's pre-diabetes. And after 6.5, then there is the diagnosis of diabetes. And definitely, if you are living with diabetes, then the goal is always to lower than 7%. Very important, because there's going to be complications if we don't do that. My dad, unfortunately, he was a very smart guy, very accomplished professionally, but he was not taking care of his health. And when he got diagnosed with diabetes, he thought, oh, Sonia, but I went to the doctor and all the numbers were well, so I am not going to take the medicine anymore. No. That's not, it's not how it works. With diabetes, you always need to control, you always need to take your medicine, you always need to do your physical activity, you always to battle that insulin resistance, because this is what physical activity does. It makes your body super recipient to the insulin to go and grab the glucose and put it into the cells where it needs to be, rather than staying in the bloodstream. So this is where it's so important to control. So you can see by this sketch that it affects a lot of organs, starting from the brain. So people living with diabetes, then they are higher risk to develop stroke, cardiovascular disease, neuropathy. That means that unfortunately the high levels of glucose will hamper, will not help the nerves working properly. So associated with the neuropathy, it could be also problems with your feet or the foot, foot damage, peripheral vascular disease, which means that there is less circulation of the blood in the lower limbs. Then the kidneys can be impaired, the eyes, the skin and mouth. So there's a lot of things going on. So, but we're not going to dwell here. I just wanted to present the problem, and I'm going to talk about a little bit now about the role of food, which is carbohydrate will play a big role in controlling the glucose level in our bloodstream. And just to provide an introduction about the carbohydrates, there are different types of carbohydrates. Mono, you can see by those little sketches over there. There's a mono saccharides, like the glucose, it's mono, or the disaccharides or disaccharides, that's going to be the white sugar, the sugar that we drink with our coffee. That's a glucose, a molecule of the glucose, and another from fructose. That's a disaccharide. And then there's the polysaccharides. They are a bunch of glucose. That's the flour, that's the corn, that's the bread. So in Texas A&M Life Extension, we offer diabetes curriculum that will go in depth into how to monitor the life of a person living with diabetes. And there are several programs. One is Do Well, Be Well, for high educated people like yourself. Then there is Si Yo Puedo in Spanish. It's culturally sensitive for that population. And then there is the Window Power Control, that's for African Americans. And then there is, and then the Do Well, Be Well with diabetes, you can also go online. And I wanted to bring that up because if there is an interest in this audience, so then I may talk to Debbie to see if there is a possibility to provide this program here. Or there is also the option for you to go online. But I wanted for you to have that information. Now there is another program, it's called Cooking Well with Diabetes, and it's going to be more hands-on with cooking. But today we are going to focus on how to prevent diabetes. And we are going to start now. We are going to, I would like for you to take this booklet out of your folder. And we're going to learn about the carbohydrate choice concept. So the overview, so far, any questions? No? Okay. And everybody is hearing me well in the back? Yes? Okay, good. All right. So carbohydrates are one of the main nutrients our body needs for energy. Carbohydrates is very easy to use by the brain and by the muscles, so this is why we need them. And this is why, when we hear so much fuss about the keto diet and so forth, those plants are lacking from this important macronutrient. So those plants are maybe good for a very short time period of time just to lose weight, but then you need to recover, you need to start eating a balanced plan. So carbohydrates are made of sugar, starches, and fiber, and our bodies break down sugars and starches into glucose. So we eat the bread, we eat the tortilla, we eat the roll, and our body digests them into those yellow dots that you saw, and those are the glucose. Yes, sir?
You talked about 3 types of carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand which one is the bad type and which one is the good type.
Very good question. So we have, okay, here. So we have, this is the structure. So we have the monosaccharide, which is the glucose by itself. The one that we have in the bloodstream, that's one molecule. It's not good, it's not bad. It's good, actually. The problem is that when we have too many.
So which one is the good type?
All of those are good ones.
What?
All of those are good. The thing is that we are going to see that some food provide, in addition to the glucose or in addition to the carbohydrates, they will provide vitamins, fiber, that will have other health benefits.
So all 3 can be good.
Exactly, they are good. All 3 are good. Very good question. Okay. Any other questions? So carbohydrates, very important. They provide energy. They are the main source of energy for our brain and our muscles. And sometimes we just forget, but even when we are sleeping, our brain is needing carbohydrates to dream, to being able to dream, and to being able to keep our temperature, body temperature. So now we are going to go with this handout, and we are going to go to page number 1. And you're going to see again and again the picture of, the picture of this plate. So then I also, since you have most of them have a pencil, right? Yes, okay. So what do you see? Do you see that in that plate we have half of a plate covered with non-starchy veggies, right? Then we have a fourth of a plate covered with lean protein, right? A fourth of a plate covered with starchy veggies like potatoes. Then we have a serving over there on the right with dairy and fruit. So what I would like for you to do is grab a pencil and tell me which of those food groups will have carbohydrates. Yeah? You may mark. These handouts are for you. So what I would like is for you to let me know, tell me if there are carbohydrates, put a star. If you think that the lean muscles will have carbohydrates, then make a star over there. And so forth, with the starchy, the non-starchy veggies. Okay. Anybody would like to volunteer? What did you, or do you want to do it together? Okay. So how about the lean protein? Do you think that we find carbohydrates in the lean protein? No. No. Very good. How about the starchy veggies? Yes. Very good. How about the non-starchy veggies? Some say yes, some say no. Okay, good. This is good because you're going to find out later. And then how about the dairy? Do you think that in dairy we have carbohydrates?
Yes.
Okay. How about the fruits? Yes. Okay. So still to discover is about the non-starchy, right? Okay, good. We are going to find that out soon. So what I would like for you to do is, this is the plate, because most of us are visual learners. And this is why I always recommend for you to fill up your plate at least 2 times a day, with half of your plate with veggies, non-starchy veggies. That could be any salad, zucchinis, tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbages. Those are the non-starchy. And we're going to go in depth onto those next time. But right now, because this is all about making tiny little steps that make a difference, so this is my recommendation. Salad, have always salad and any roasted veggies on the side at each meal. Then 1/4 of a plate with starches. So we know that those are going to be the potatoes, right? The rice, the pasta, the tortillas, and then 1/4 filling it up with any protein. And then we have the dairy. Maybe the dairy will have it as a snack. But at least this plate needs to be distributed like that. That way we're going to have the 3 macronutrients. The proteins that will help us to rebuild our tissues, because our muscles, we think that, oh, our bones are already done. No, our bone cells are always dying, and then we need to eat protein to rebuild those tissues. Same with our skin and all the organs. And then the fat, there is the good fats, which are the omega-3, so then this is where we always encourage to have at least 2 times of fish a week. And nuts, those are very good quality of fats. Okay, so what raises blood glucose? We talked about food, stress, sickness, we talked about, I mentioned that, infection, and some medicines like steroids and hormones. But we are focusing on the food. So now what we're going to learn is about the concept of the carbohydrate choice, where we are going to start thinking the carbohydrate choice in terms of the foods that will have carbohydrates, a lot of them, like starchy veggies, like grains, fruits, beans, dairy. Are we seeing there the non-starchy veggies? No, right? So that means that the non-starchy veggies are not going to be part of our counting. All right, so then the carbohydrate choice is a lifestyle, it's not a diet. So what does that mean? The carbohydrate choice is a way to calculate, it's a way to understand how many carbohydrates is going to be a choice. It's 15 grams. 15 grams of carbohydrates is equal to 1 choice. So then you may think, well, Sonia, what does that mean? And I'm going to go back. See, do you see the pasta there? Well, 1/3, can you believe that? 1/3 of a cup is already, we can pass that around, so maybe, yes. So Ashley is going to pass around some measuring cups, because 1/3 of a cup, this amount only, is equal to 1 carbohydrate choice. So if we have 3 of these, how much are we going to have? Like a cup, right? So in a cup of rice or a cup of pasta, we have how many carbohydrate choices?
45.
3. Who said that? 3. 3. Okay? So if we have a sandwich and a carbohydrate choice, it's going to be a slice of bread. If we have a sandwich with 2 slices, how many carbohydrate choices do we have? 2. Okay, so the 3/4 of a cup of ready-to-eat cereal. And this is something that it is very important for you to start reading the labels, because yes, some in this 3/4 of a cup will have only 1 choice. A small banana, 1 choice. 6-inch tortilla, one choice. So when we have 2 tacos, how many choices do we have? 2. And I have more examples. So about 1 kiwi is going to be 1 choice. A tangerine, 1 choice. A 3/4 of a cup of berries, 1 choice. Or half a cup of mango, 1 choice. And I am passing around the measuring cups and also some food replicas. So you're going to see all, I put in each of the bags 1 food replica. That has to do with carbs, like half a cup of corn, that's going to be 1 choice. And then I put as a food replica 1 serving of protein, which is about 3 ounces, which is about the size of the palm of our hand. All right. So going on here, a small potato is going to be a carbohydrate choice, a small apple. Oh, sorry. Half a cup of cooked cereal, but the one that is just plain cereal. I brought here this. This is the one sometimes I eat. And I thought, how in the world, and I measured it, because this is why I am going to encourage you to start measuring a lot. Not everything, but a lot. So then when I took one of those envelopes, it measured only 1/3 of a cup, just raw. I put almond milk and cooked it in the microwave for 1 minute. I measured it back, it was only half a cup. So then I thought, half a cup? So that means only one carbohydrate choice, 15 grams. Guess what? No. 29 grams. So then I said, how in the world I am teaching wrongly? Well, no, the thing is that it has added sugars. So of course it's sweeter. So this is where I'm going to start to encourage you to start reading labels, because it's not only, not only the visual cues or information that I'm providing you, helping you, but also reading labels, because these measurements are an estimation. The labels are going to be more efficient to tell us the story. Okay. So then I'm going to go back, because you may ask, well, Sonia, how many choices carbohydrate can I have per day? So you're going to see 3 calorie levels. And this is why I love this because you're going to take this home and you are going to keep reading them, and you're going to see, oh, the 1,500 calorie meal plan, what does that entail? This is something for somebody who wants to lose weight, 1,500 calories. And for that person, will have 12 carbohydrate choices per day. And throughout the day, because we have at least 3 good meals, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 to 4 carbohydrate choices per meal. So for 1,800 calories, it's going to be more. It's 14 carbohydrate choices per day. And it's going to add a snack. Now, it fills up pretty quick, because if I eat this much of pasta, it's already how many? 3, right? Okay. All right. So for 2,000 calories, is for somebody who is physically active, going to the gym every day, and doing resistance training and cardio, right? Okay. So now I would like for you to build your own program, because what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to grab this handout. It says planning your carbohydrate choices per day. And I would like for you to tell me which program do you want. Do you want to lose weight? What is going to be your goal? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to maintain your weight? Do you think that you are physically active so that you can take 16 carbohydrate choices? And then I would like for you to tell me how many carbohydrate choices you're going to get per day. So this is personal, it's for you to keep. It looks like this. Do you find it? No? It looks like this. Ah.
How much is a gram of something that I would hold in my hand?
Okay, so for instance, a tablespoon of white sugar is about 15 grams.
A tablespoon of what?
Sugar, white sugar.
White sugar.
Yeah. A teaspoon of white sugar is about 4 grams.
A teaspoon is 4 grams.
Yes, a tablespoon is going to be 15. Okay, so then what I would like is for you, yes, do you have this? All right, so I want now, and I'm going to, sir, I am going to help you here finding it. So this is this
building a breakfast meal?
Yes, I would like to go there also. So first, I want for you to tell me which program do you want? Do you want to lose weight? Then you're going to get 12 carbohydrate choices per day. You want to maintain your weight? 14. And maybe you're physically super active, so then you may need the 16. So tell me which one do you want and write it down here. And then the next, with that amount, that's going to be your total amount of carbohydrate choices per day. So now with that amount, you're going to distribute between breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, if optional. Remember that we were talking about 3 to 4 per day, per meal. That is a rule of thumb, that's a good plan. That could be a start. Yes, ma'am.
How about milk? How much is it?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to be able to understand that. 4 ounces of milk is going to be 1 carbohydrate choice. Half a cup of fruit is going to be 1, or 3/4 of a cup of the berries, do you remember? That could be, or 17, do you remember when we were talking about that? 17 grapes is going to be 1 carbohydrate choice. A small apple, 1 carbohydrate choice. Oh, and I am going, and here's the response for the yogurt. 8 ounces is going to be 1 carbohydrate choice. So what I would like is for you to show me. Were you able to just raise your hand up to see if you were able to fill that out for me? Yes. And then you make it total. Perfect. And let's see if it is going to be like this. Okay, it has to be the total has to be the same number that you picked. Okay, anybody else want to show me? Okay, right. Oh, okay, this one. We're working on this one. Yes. There you go. Yes. You're good. In the right position. Right hand up. Very good. Exactly. Exactly. You need to split it up. One. Okay. So now the next step, I would like for you to think about a breakfast. The other side of the page, it says, build your breakfast meal. And you're going to think about what are you getting every morning. And you're going to write your item, the quantity. Like if you're getting a cup of milk, 8 ounces, that would be one choice. And you're going to tell me 8 ounces. Or maybe you're telling me you're eating half a cup, so that's 4 ounces. That is going to be half of a choice, carbohydrate choice. What I want for you to do is write the item, the quantity, how much you're getting. Is it going to be tortilla? Is it going to be 1 tortilla or 2? Or is it going to be 1 bread, 1 slice, or 2? And then tell me how many carbohydrate choices. So we are now focusing on building your breakfast. And these are ideas to look at. So 28. Okay. Yes, sir.
I want to get this right. 1 gram of sugar in a teaspoon is, excuse me,
A teaspoon.
teaspoonful
It's 4
of
grams.
sugar is 1 gram.
4 grams.
4 grams.
Yes.
A teaspoon.
In a teaspoon has 4 grams.
In a table.
A tablespoon has about 15.
And how many? 15.
So we usually use teaspoons. So let's use 4 grams of white sugar in a teaspoon. That's easier.
But how many grams in a tablespoon or something else?
Okay, that's a good question because I know where you want to go. You want to go to talk about the added sugars. I promise you.
No, I just want to know what physically does a gram look like? How much space does a gram take? And so sugar is, I can understand.
Mhm.
And so you've got some things up here talking about 50, 60 grams. What would be, how much sugar would you have to put in something for it to be 50 or 60 grams?
About 12 teaspoons of sugar, that will make 50 grams.
So 12 teaspoons.
Yes, sir.
12 teaspoons.
Yes, will make 50 grams of sugar. Okay, and I promise we are going to talk about added sugars next time. Okay, how was this activity to learn about how to make a breakfast? Yes, ma'am.
Can you translate this to what is on the box, like a cereal? I don't measure sugar and things like that.
Yes, don't worry about the sugar, measuring the sugar.
Yeah.
What I want is for you to think about the choices, the carbohydrate choices. That a slice of bread is going to make a carbohydrate choice. So my question to you is, for breakfast, because we're talking about breakfast, what do you usually eat for breakfast?
Cereal.
Okay, what type of cereal? The Quake, the oatmeal, or the cornflakes?
Cheerios.
Cheerios. Okay, about a cup of those Cheerios, or 3/4 of a cup, is going to be 1 carbohydrate choice. So now you're going to start measuring and see how much you are eating every morning. And know that for your breakfast, you have to have about 3 to 4 carbohydrate choices, not more than that. Because what happens, and I'm going to go to the next slide, and you're going to see what happens is that if we eat carbohydrates more than we have, what we need, then we're going to store those carbohydrates as fat. And do we want that? No, because we've learned that for diabetes, we want to keep away, we want to prevent diabetes, and we want to keep a normal weight. Does that make sense? So this is why we're going to start calculating and measuring the foods, the items that are filled with starch, filled with carbohydrates. Yes, sir.
Are you asserting that all carbohydrates are equal?
How about whole grain carbohydrates?
Okay, so then it has to do with what, yes. So then the carbohydrates are good choices and poor choices. The poor choices are the ones that have only carbohydrates, like the white sugar. The good choices are going to be the whole wheat or the carbohydrates that come with the fruits and vegetables, because are going to be nutritiously very dense. They are going to have a lot of vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
But you're asserting there is the amount of carbohydrates in a piece of bread that's important, not the type of bread that it is. Is it a whole grain bread, a slice, or the whole grain bread may, 100% whole grain bread may have the same amount of carbohydrates as white bread, but they're
Yes.
not equal.
This is a very good question, because the whole wheat is going to have fiber. So if a slice of bread has whole wheat, it's going to have about 12 grams of sugar and 3 of fiber. And the fiber doesn't digest, it goes away. So it's going to be a better choice compared to a white bread, which is all carbohydrates. Those 50 grams are pure carbohydrates. So the fiber doesn't have calories. The fiber will not provide you with energy.
But doesn't it also slow down the rate of ingestion of
Yes.
glucose?
Yes.
Important. That's an important point.
Yes, this is why we are going to talk about more next time, that there are better choices, and also the handouts. It's just, I don't have that much time to talk, but there are better choices, and those are the whole grains, the corn tortilla better than the white tortillas. It's going to be everything that has the fruits, the vegetables that have the skin in it, it's better than the juice. So that's another good way to say that the whole fruits, vegetables, everything that is whole wheat is going to be much better quality than the processed, highly processed foods. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How many carbohydrates one cinnamon?
I would like for you to take a look at that. That's going to be a good research project. But I bet a lot. And these questions are great because, yes, while we are doing these activities, this is a good opportunity for you to think and then make questions. Any other questions so far? Yes, sir.
What about artificial sweeteners?
We are going to talk about that next time, maybe.
Okay.
Good question. Yes. All right. Moving on. We have only 5 minutes. But I'm going to finish saying that, for instance, just because this is a new concept for you to think about carbohydrate in terms of carbohydrate choices. So look at this, a pancake, that's going to be one carbohydrate choice. Half a small bagel, right? That's going to be. And then another, this is why Ashley and I, we prepare something for you in the folders. So it is also very important to see what is the size of the plates that we are eating. Because visually, unfortunately, whatever it's all in the plate, we're going to eat all of it. So then our recommendation is measure, and this is a good way with that's for hand. With this, we made this yarn, this measures 9 inches, and you are going to go home and check if the diameter of your plates are about this. And this is the recommended size of your plates. That will help you to make better choices. Thank you, Ashley. 9 inches. Okay. No time for this, but what I would like for you is review what we learned is why do carbohydrates get so much attention when it comes to health, and that will summarize a little bit what we were talking. When we eat carbohydrates, our bodies break down starches and sugars into glucose. Glucose enters into our bloodstream, raising the blood levels and releases a hormone called insulin. This is what happens. Insulin helps move glucose out of the blood and into other parts of the body for use as energy. So this is why it's so important to have the insulin. And when we have extra energy from excess food or drink, no matter the source, sugar, white sugar, whole wheat, if I eat too much whole wheat, it's going to go into fat. Same if we eat too much steak, there is so much that we can store as muscle. It's going to go to the storage of fat. So this is why we need to think about the sizes, the plates that we are using, and the way we, the portion that we balance our macronutrients. In chronic diseases such as diabetes or obesity, the body may not use insulin effectively and results in high blood glucose. And then the high blood glucose over time can cause damage to the body, which can develop into a disease called diabetes. And then why people develop diabetes vary from person to person. And also we talked about the race, the ethnicity, the lifestyle, the choices we make. People overweight are obese. People overweight or obese or are not active and not eat healthy, have a family member with diabetes, may be at greater risk for developing diabetes. That means the bottom line is that we just need to learn how to keep the carbohydrates in balance to prevent or delay the onset of diabetes. Does that make sense? And keep ourselves physically active. And that is, if Debbie allows me, but this is a very important activity for you to do. I would like for you to grab also in the folder, there is a handout about with that title, Call for Action. And I would like for you to think one or two things that you have learned today and share with your partner next to you. And then once you did that, and you can write it down here, and you can keep it. So I'm going to give you a minute to identify one thing that you have learned today and share it, because there's nothing better than sharing, because we learn from each other a lot. Yes, sir.
Could you put that last slide, summary of the whole talk back up there?
Yes, definitely.
And then you also address how exercise is very
I think everyone's very, very busy with what you're doing in your forms. But are there a couple of final questions? Just burning questions that you need to ask? We're going to revisit the carbohydrates, the diet, the healthy choices in 2 weeks. But if there are some burning questions, we got to be out of here in 2 minutes. So if there are any questions you need to ask today, we'll take a couple. She's asking if there's a carbohydrate counter, someplace that we can go.
No, but this is why it is a very important new habit for you to start reading labels and look into the total carbohydrate information. So this is a good way, and it takes time, and also learning about the portions according to the measurements, like I showed you, because I know that you go to the restaurants and the cafeteria, and many times you're not cooking at home. So that's a good way to start visualizing.
We'll talk talk about the carbohydrates more, and we'll look at the menus next time, which is going to be very helpful for us because a lot of us don't go to the groceries and have boxes to read. So I think we're going to wrap it up for now. Thank you very much for your attendance and your participation. And if you turn in your surveys, you will get your beautiful placemat. It'll teach you everything.
Debbie, if
Thank
you
you.
go to the app stores, you can type in carb counter, and there are various apps
Okay.
that will.
Thank you.
Stuart says that there are apps on your phone that are carb counters. So if you have questions, just dance around your phone until you find out the answer. Let's give Sonia a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience.